So let's change the world. It's our incredible story of Gan Eden part 3. Very exciting. And for those who weren't here before, we are basically trying to learn the story of Gan Eden, the story of paradise, that famous story, the most famous story in the world. #1 bookseller, New York Times. And we have to understand that everything, literally, metaphorically, spiritually, everything comes from there. And the more appreciation, the more understanding we have for this story, the more we can understand our own story in our own lives. Because this is like the micro story of all the stories. Everything that comes after in the story of the Jewish people is based on that story. Our entire existence is based on that story. What we're trying to do is to relive that story. You know, there's that famous movie Groundhog Day, where you have the guy who keeps waking up every day the same day, waking up every day at the same at the same time. And the idea is that he gets another opportunity to fix or to live his day in the best possible way. And that's what we say every day, that God renews every day the creation, the story of Bereshit, what happened at Bereshit, which, you know, could imply obviously not just the creation, but itself, but also what happened in the story of Bereshit. And every day we have a man and a woman, and they need to find each other, and they need to learn to live with each other and not being trapped by the snake. Right? And every day you have to try to create your paradise. This is what you created. The story of Bereshit is a role model. It's a structure, guide, reference point for every day of your life. We wake up in this world, and you wake up in a paradise. Obviously, some people don't wake up in the same paradise as we all, you know, there's different. Sometimes you can say really paradise. I mean, if you grow up wake up in a third world country, grow up there, you know, barely food. So obviously it might not be experienced by everyone, but the idea is that the paradise is that it depends on us. There is a paradise, there is potential, there is a lot of trees, a lot of potential, and we can use the energies of this world to create a beautiful garden. What is the garden that you are going to create for yourself? So this is the story again, and there are many levels to learn this story. We're this time, first round. I'm actually, you know, maybe I ask you your opinion at the end. How we should go about this story, if we can learn it a few times, and each time with different question, different level. Right now I'm going through it even very quickly because we're already on the second chapter. Technically you can learn the story of Gan Eden for years. That's how infinite the Torah is. So we can do that, or we can try to go through the different stories of the Chumash and see how almost, well, it's really every story, but how every story is a reenactment of the Gan Eden story. And each time we try to fix, you know, something, and sometimes we fail and sometimes we're successful. But let's remember that the whole point of our exile now, the 6,000 years, we spoke about it on the first class, right? We are still in the 6th day of what happened in Galilee, right? We're still in the 6th day, and we're stuck in that frozen 6th day, which now we're in the 6th millennium, so it's even more really relevant. The 6th millennium connected to the 6th day, and we're trying to finish what we started or what we broke, repair what we broke, and then enable creation to continue to the 7th millennium, to Shabbat, and continue to 8, 9, 10, not to go back again, because this only came after the sin. So that's we're in that frozen moment in time, and in that 6th day, and we're trying to relive that day every day until we actually make it work. Okay, so this one thing actually I wanted to share with before we go actually in the verse itself. From last time we said that, right, God took actually before that there were trees, right, and God commanded men to eat from all the trees. So we spoke the way I explained it is that this world is like a museum, and we are here to learn to become one with God, and therefore every tree is a tree of knowledge, a tree of understanding who God is, and everything that exists, right? Kulam bechachma sisa. God made everything with wisdom, and we're trying to understand God through everything that exists. But there's another way that I really like to present it. I forgot if I mentioned it quickly or not, but we know that a man is compared to a tree, right? In the Chazal from Tehillim and many other places. So man is like a tree, which means he has seeds and he can grow and make fruit and make this world grow and being fruitful and multiply, right? That's it. It's true of the tree, be fruitful and multiply. It's true of the man. So really what we're saying is that one aspect of eating from all the trees is eating from all people, meaning we try to learn from every person what fruit that person has, meaning that every person in this world is an opportunity to understand God better, right? If we understand that we're made B'Tselem Elokim, each one is a part of Hashem, is an image of God. Therefore, every human being is a way to connect to God in a very unique way, right? So really, any person we meet, doesn't mean we have to meet everyone technically, although it would make sense, right? Adam is that one being that is united, that is connected to all its parts, just like God, right? Is united with all its parts. So Adam, being an Adam, means I'm connected to every part of myself, which means I'm connected to every human being in this world, which means that each time I meet someone, I should be able to see what it is that I can learn from that person on and about my relation with that person, on how to get closer to God, on how to understand the world, on how to understand God in this world. Okay. We even learn from animals how we should behave in order to get close to God, right? We learn snoot from the cat, Baruch Hashem for the cats. But so every animal teaches something. So Kol Vachomer, all the more so that we should learn from every human being. And that's why there's a mitzvah of Ve'afta l'reacha kamocha. You will only learn to connect to that person and to learn about its uniqueness and why did Hashem create that person? Because obviously God doesn't create just for the purpose of especially human being, for the purpose of just having another human being, right? Everything is purposeful, and therefore every human being has a unique mission, a unique identity, and a unique facet of Hashem. Tselem Elokim, it's an image of Elokim, of Hashem. right? So therefore, waking up every morning, you wake up in the Garden of Eden. What's the Garden of Eden? With all those trees and fruits, is all those people that you're gonna meet, and you're gonna try to connect to all those people and use those people, so to speak, to get close to God and to learn more about God. Now, so that's something I wanted to bring out, to really try to understand how to relate practically today with the story of the Garden of Eden. Okay, so we were up to that. Then Hashem, God fashioned the side that he had taken from the man into a woman, and he brought her to the man. And the man said, "This time it is bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. This shall be called woman, for from man was she taken." And we're saying that it was the reason why God had to do that, right? Why God didn't do that in the first place, because God needed, no, not God needed, man needed to understand that he was supposed to have a relationship with God. But because man negated or didn't realize or understand his female part, the feminine part, the power of himself, God had to take it out of him and face it. Meaning, because man was not able to understand that he was supposed to marry God, meaning I am like a woman energy for God. God gives, I receive God's energy, and I, like a mother, bring fruit from the energy that God gave me. But somehow, the way men took it, we said that was that from Rashi, is that Adam, right? He took it as if he saw himself mostly male. So if I see myself mostly as male, then I'm gonna be confronted with God, those two energies. And excuse me for the expression, but God is not gay, right? God wanted a relationship of opposites, and God wanted to have that male-female energy power, because then there's a flow between the male and the female, and that's a real relationship. And through that, we can become one with God. Thinking that we are male is thinking that we're just male energy, is thinking I am God. That's really a problem. And that's why the Rashi says, oh, you know why I'm going to make the woman for him? Because he's going to think he's God, and he needs someone to remind him that, yes, you have that male energy. You're very similar to God. Yes, that, you can do things. You can even make children, babies, just like God. God makes, people. You also make people. Yes, you have a question. Let me unmute you.
Yes, Rabbi. This is Odi. In the way that I am understanding is like the male energy is a giver. Like Hashem, the only thing that he knows to do is to give. And the female energy is to receive. And we need to learn how to receive. And I've been seeing many people struggling with this energy, because it's I can do it. I don't receive help. I don't need anything. Mm-hmm. So we enter into arrogance. But when we are receiving, it's like okay, I am fragile. I am beloved. I trust you because I know that whatever you're going to give me is the best for me. Yes. I don't know if it's, I'm getting your message.
No, it's excellent. Yes, we and interestingly today, men and women want to act like men, that male energy. I can do it alone. We don't need men. We don't need women. We don't get married. I can have children from the hospital. I don't need any more, you know, a husband or a wife. I can do everything on my own. So the reason there's so many problem today with that is really that, and that's why there's also a rise in the same time of the feminine movement, of the feminist movement, which represents that power that needs to go back up because it has been crushed for thousands of years. The woman is second-class citizen, the women are like this, the women are like that, and this stems from here, from the root. Again, we're just reliving. It's like, imagine the story of Gan Eden happened yesterday, right? So today we're trying to relive that story and fix that story, and we see how many problems are in the world. So yes, you're right. It requires us to be humble. Being a female energy is the humility to receive, the humility to accept, the humility to be the recipient of good.
To trust.
Yes.
I trust. It's very important because that when you trust, you are vulnerable.
Exactly. That's vulnerability, Andrew, and that's what Adam Arishon was not in touch. He was not in touch with that side of himself. Okay, it's important to look when you say the side of Adam. It's not the rib. It's a side of him. Adam was not more male than female. Adam was female as much as male. But interestingly, even us, when we speak of Adam, I mean, I don't know for you, but I think in general, the way we think of Adam is as a male. Adam was not male at all. He had two, again, he's a spiritual being, but he had two sexes, two organs. So the fact that we just think of Adam as male already shows that there's a misunderstanding of how to look at things. And that's our whole struggle with God. How, oh, I don't need God. I can do it on my own. You know, I don't want to be controlled by God. I want to be able to do whatever I want. I want to be free, right? That's just male power. And we're not, you know, I mean, all those movies are made on that men wants like to control and power, and society, politics, all that. Instead of learning that the female and the male have as much power to the one than the other, and they're meant to complete each other, not to fight with each other. So this is something I wanted to come back to because it's really the essence of everything. And here, that's what we concluded last time, that men said, oh, this time she's from me, but the fact that he says she's taken from me, in a way, it was something that is a little bit demeaning. You're an extension of me, okay? We cannot say necessarily that this is 100% what he meant, but, you know, the way he called her is like, you know, Adam Jr., you know, Isha from Ish, right? Means from Ish. So it's why didn't give her the name Chava like he gave after, right? He had to rename her. The original name of Eve is Isha that he gave her, but why didn't start straight with Chava? Obviously, he had a change of mind, of realization of who she is. Okay, I'm going too much. It's too exciting, too much ahead. Okay, so now because right after that, it says something very interesting. Therefore, a man shall leave his father and his mother and cling to his wife, and they shall become one flesh. Already here we see that God is instructing the man to leave his parents, right? Although you will think that it's the woman who needs to leave her parents because, you know, she depends on the father of the house more, you know, like in old time, and therefore she, you know, the man is more out. He can usually go early out in the world to do, but not to do his living, but not like that. On the contrary, says the man has to leave his parents. Why? So first of all, it shows that it's man's job to really do the work to cling to his wife. So it's the male energy that needs to go out and not look back, and but focus on her, on the female energy, and become one with it. Now that's the first thing. But the second thing is that it's telling the man, you got to abandon, not abandon, right? It says shall leave, doesn't mean abandon, but it means that it should be a clear disconnect from your parents' home, because your parents' home, it's one world. Your wife, it's a new world, a whole new world, right? And even Aladdin had it right. He has to enter into the world of the woman, the world of the female. It's a new dimension. And when two people get married, this is what I tell people, men who get married, khatanim, that they need to really discover the woman, they discover a new world and learn to navigate in that world. Because that world is a part of him that he has always negated, that female part. Obviously, there are men who are more female, but it's not just the female aspect. It's also the whole idea of what a woman is and what it is that, where she's coming from, her whole universe. And he needs to become one, literally one with it on the spiritual, but also one flesh. So even on the physical, has to be across the board. So that's, the way I understand it at this point. And now we understand that he has, that's his mission. That's mission, that as soon as he has maturity, he goes out in the world and learn to be one with the female energy that corresponds to him, and become one with it, and learn to be in harmony, and create a perfect paradise to unite with God. Now it says they were both naked, the man and his wife, and they were not ashamed. So this one is a bit like my Rebbe will say, it's a doozy. it's a challenging thing. I think there's two ways to look at it. They were both naked, the man and his wife, and they were not ashamed. Baruch Hashem. Why should you be ashamed to be naked? We're transparent. We like transparency, right? I am the way I am, and you are the way you are. And technically, I mean, you can go today, they have those village, nude village, right? Where everybody's naked and everything is beautiful, everybody respect each other. It's not about the body, it's about the soul, about who you are inside. I'm not focused on your external things. I love you because of who you are inside, not because of your body. And it's something very beautiful. And in a way, it has a little bit that aspect of that Gan Eden world where, we're not focused on the body. So in a way, it's normal and it's positive. They were very spiritual beings, much more spiritual than physical, and therefore they were not on a level where the physical had anything shameful to it. On the other side, we could say it's actually something negative. They were both naked, man and his wife. I don't think necessarily it speaks about that physical nakedness, because again, he was not physical, like with skin, like we said before. It was a spiritual being. There was a type of body, but the body was very, meaning that man and his wife saw that they didn't have anything of their own. I'm naked. I have nothing that I acquired. There's nothing that belongs to me. Everything is given to me. Therefore, I'm naked. I'm empty. This is who I am. And they were not ashamed of that. And that was a problem, meaning that you are supposed to have a sense of humility, of understanding that true nakedness is shameful, meaning that we are here to grow and to acquire something, and we are here to make something ourselves. If there is nothing that we own our own, we didn't acquire anything, it's shameful, right? And therefore, that the fact that we're not ashamed was a problem. You're not ashamed that God created everything and you have nothing to give. You have nothing on your own. And the idea is that it's pushing, it's saying that they should have feel a sense of shame. They should have feel a sense that, wow, God, you give me all that. What can I give you? I you know, I should feel female. I should feel a sense of, I'm a receiver, I have female energy, and therefore I have that sense of shame that I also want to give. I also want to reciprocate. I also want to, to be dressed with glory. But he hadn't done any mitzvah yet, right? And therefore he didn't have, the mitzvah is a garment of spiritual garment that we create for ourselves. When we wake up in Gan Eden, not in Gan Eden, I'm actually in Gan Eden after we die, or in Olam Haba, when we come back, we will have a garment made of all the things that we have made. And who is going to be naked there is really going to be ashamed, because you could have that nice suit and tie like that French man. No, but the idea is that we are here to take away that shame, and that's why Chazal in Kabbalah say this Nama de Kisufa, the bread of shame. The reason why God created this world is because of the bread of shame. God wanted to make sure that Adam himself will have a relationship with God, but in a way that is equal, in a way that is, I give you and you give me, and we feel equal. If there's only one who gives and only one who receives, then the one who receives is, it's shame. If I have to give money to my son till he's 120 years old, there's nothing more shameful. The whole point is to become independent. So it's pushing us. God is saying, I want you to be independent. I want you to be strong. I want your male energy also, but you got to use your female energy to make you into a man. And as we know, at Teres Bala, the woman is the one who gives the crown to the man. So you need to use that little shamefulness, that energy, female energy, to transform you into a real man, right? That's why men need to get married, to understand that concept, to become one with that concept of receiving and then learn and giving back, and learning to have an equal relationship, even though I come after, so to speak, after God, even though I come after man, even though I'm the receiving. Because you know what? Once you receive, you have the power to give, right? Let's remember that every male power has also female in it, and every female has also male in it. It's yin yang, right? Everything is double in this world, right? Everything is male, female. So even the woman has to find her male power, and the man has to find his female power. The marriage helps complete that, helps see the back and forth and use that back and forth. And then the man lets the woman give him without feeling arrogant. He lets his male energy become vulnerable and allow his wife to do things for him. You don't have to be ashamed. It's fine if a man cries. It's not just for women. It's good to have emotion. It's good. Speak to me. And men, they don't like to speak. Oh, and speaking, I speak all my problems. Oh, it's very female energy. Oh, no, speak. It's okay. Share with me, right? Communicate. Something that men usually tend not to do, or at least people with very strong male energy. Again, sometimes a woman is more male energy. Sometimes a woman is more. Sometimes a woman is more male energy. Sometimes a man is more female energy. We all have to balance ourselves. So this is a little bit what's happening here, where there's a need to build our dignity. And by the way, this is what snoot is. this is what tzniut is. Tzniut is having incredible dignity, is acting, behaving in a way that I am self-worth. And that's what they needed to acquire. And there was no dignity really yet, right? So, and we see that the whole new thing and dignity it's connected to that, right? Like men have to recognize women as their equal status in society, just like on a spiritual level. And because God is saying, I want you, man, I want you, Adam, I want you, mankind, to feel like we can have an equal relationship where you, mankind, can also give to me, right? And we say, and what can we give to Hashem? We can give kavod to Hashem. We can, and kavod has to do with dignity. We can give, right? And so that idea of tzniut, we play, there's needs of modesty from Hashem, that he allows himself to be crowned by us. We are God's female, and we crown God. The woman, ateret bala, she crowns her husband. So that's what we are talking about a bit here. Now, interestingly, now we're starting the next things with the serpent. Now the snake, right, the serpent was cunning beyond any beast of the field that Hashem, God, had made. First of all, we have to say that the fact, and one of the reasons I interpret the verse of being not good, meaning he was not ashamed, and that was not the good things, is because as soon as they were naked and they were not ashamed, what happens? Ve'anachash, right away. Ve'anachash, what is that? And the snake. Well, you have that vav achibur, that vav of connection between the pasuk before. You don't need, there was a snake and he was very smart. No, and hanachash, as if to say that the fact that they were not ashamed and they were naked, haha, now comes the snake because of that. So, so the snake was a consequence of us. If we don't become humble, if we don't recognize that need to have a relationship with God, if we don't learn, we won't choose to dress ourselves and we choose to stay naked, and we create a society of nakedness where everybody, there's no more dignity. Everybody's dressed in bikini today, men and women alike. So, you know what's going to happen? Mr. Sneaky is going to come and he's going to take advantage of that. He's going to teach you a lesson. He's going to steal your men or women alike. Now, interesting, he says there's a snake, it was ve'anachash haya arum, the same word as naked. So it's translated as cunning, but in a way it's saying that the snake also was naked, meaning he's the animal or the creature that has to do with nakedness. And there's a reason why the snake looks like a male organ. Okay, it's it's all connected. So because there was that nakedness and they were not ashamed, then comes Mr. Naked and takes advantage of that energy that was not directed properly. Now it also means that he was the smart, the most cunning. But if he was the most cunning, we can also interpret that Adam and Eve were cunning too, because the same word. They were both very smart, right? And still they were not ashamed. So they were not using their smartness in order to have a relationship with God. You use your qualities or the opposite. You don't use your qualities, all the gifts you have to have a relationship with God, to lift yourself up and have and be married to God. The snake is going to come. You disconnect yourself from God, the snake is going to come. And what the snake is trying to do is say, oh, you don't want God as a mate? I'm a good mate. You can trust me. And he takes God's place in a way, which he's trying to do this. So whole midrash, all that, we're not really going to go into it, but he's going to, the whole reason he tried to seduce Eve and Adam is because he wants to take control of that female power. Oh, you don't care about that female power of yours? I'll take care of it. I'll give her, I'll make her feel good. Yeah. If we men are not real men and treat the woman the right way and use that female energy in us and in our spouse in order to become great together and fuse and become one with God, then the negative energy of the world, the snake, is going to come and grasp it and replace us. As we see what's happening in the world with sex trafficking and whatever exists out there with the people using women for whatever objects, right? It's just destroying the whole creation, the whole female energy of creation. So we have to be careful of Mr. Sneaky. Now, what is the snake? What is the snake? Because that's something that is hard to understand. He said the snake was talking, he was talking right to the woman, and he was standing. He was walk, and the midrash say that he was actually the greatest servant. He was supposed to be the greatest servant of man. And there must have been some type of free choice, like Rav Yaakov Weinberg says that he must have had some kind of free choice because he was punished for what he did, right? And so therefore, you can only be punished if you have free choice, free will. But obviously, he didn't have free choice like Adam because he was part of the animal kingdom because he was Aru Mikol Chayas. So he was part of the animal kingdom, but he was very smart. He was supposed to have a greatest servant. Now, I would like to suggest one interpretation, although I have some kind of sources for that. I don't want to, scream it out of the roof because I don't think it can be misinterpreted and taken in the wrong way. But I think there's three types of people in the world. There's three types. There's the Jew, there's the non-Jew, and there's people who look like the Jew and the non-Jew, but that don't have a soul like us. They are part of the animal kingdom, so to speak. So it doesn't mean that they look like animals. They actually look like human beings. Meaning so that you have, and by the way, men and women, I forgot to speak about that. Men and women represents the Jew and the non-Jew. Okay. It happened later. This is something that happened later, but the role of the Jew is the spiritual male energy of the world. Therefore, that's why they have to teach the Torah, right? The man in the house is supposed to be the Talmid Chacham, the one who learns, and that the wife asks question about halacha because he's supposed to know more. Sometimes it's the opposite. It's fine, but there's supposed to be that male energy of wisdom. So the Jew represents that male energy. The non-Jew represents that female energy, and they're supposed to learn to live together. And therefore, now we're speaking about Adam and Eve as Jews and non-Jews, because we all come from Adam, from that one big soul who was split into many, many, many pieces. Okay, so the one who chose to convert to be Jewish are people who chose to take the male energy and direct it properly so that the female energy of the world, the human being, the other part of Adam, becomes great, find its own dignity, and learn to fuse together and to serve God, to recognize God.
Rabbi, can I ask a question?
Yes, of course.
So if we take this, I don't know if we're supposed to take this story literally. It's always been a weird story for me, but
yes, not least.
Yeah, so if there's a third person because they have free will, but they're like a sociopath or a psychopath or something with no soul, how were Adam and Chava the first people ever created? Like, from where did Hashem create this third person that's now suddenly showing up? Or is it just a metaphor?
No, I don't think it's just a metaphor. I think, I mean, it's part of everything that he created. He created a human-like type of being, right? But which was part of the animal kingdom, right, at the end. But I mean, haven't you met people who live literally like animals? Meaning they're not thinking. I'm not talking about someone who just goes through the routine of life. More than that, like literally, they wake up, they eat, go to the bathroom, go work, go home, watch a movie, go sleep their whole life, and they don't ask, why am I here? They don't ask what life is about. They don't really feel compassion or for people. It's like very a slave type. Well, a slave type without really a soul, like a human soul that is looking for meaning and greatness and love and all that. It's very things. And I mean, I met people like that and I never understood it. But based on that, yes, probably then maybe they're not allowed to feel love, as per the snake story. And their mission is just to be a function, a part of function of society. Now, we don't have the right or the wisdom to say who those people are, but I think we can on our own just see sometimes those people. Now, I want to add to that let's remember that it says that the snake was taken over in the Midrash and the Zohar. The Satan took over the snake, right? And by the way, the snake is a male power, so it's a male energy. So the Satan grabbed that, whatever that means, grabbed that energy, that snake energy, and kind of possessed him, so to speak, and used the snake. So therefore, use those people in order to go in the world and not anymore serve men and women as it was supposed to be at the beginning, but actually fight it, right? And that would be people like Amalek. Those are the people who have sold basically their soul to the devil and are trying to control the world. And there's one of my rabbi named Rav Dinovich says that they are those people like Hamas, ISIS, which has nothing to do with Arabs or Muslim, are from Amalek and don't have a soul. You cannot have a person who can just experiment on live people, like Nazis, or people who just smash babies or play with the head, cut the head of behead someone and give it to the kids to play football with. And you cannot, if you don't feel anything when you do that, you don't have a soul. So that's simple as that. This transcends humanity, the soul. So so there's that type of people. So that's what I would like to suggest, is to look at the serpent as certain people that look like people, but really they don't have the soul that Jews and non-Jews have, right? So he has a question: are they related to the first wife of Adam? It's a good question. Just like in men, there is male and female energy, spiritual, positive. There's also male and female negative energy. So the snake will be the male negative energy, and who we call Lilith, which is better not to pronounce usually, but for the sake of clarity, is that female energy that takes care of men. So you have, you know, the male energy, which we call Samael, is taking care of the female, trying to attack the female energy, and you have the energy, negative energy, Lilith, that's trying to destroy the male. And those two energies are here to challenge us to deal with it and to be a real man and to be a real woman. Otherwise, those energy comes and destroy us. By the way, that Lilith energy comes from the fact that the man didn't appreciate and rejected in a way that female energy and creation, right? Because of that, she was rejected, and now is she, so to speak, taking vengeance. But again, we're talking about very lofty terms, very spiritual things, but it's still a reality in this world. It's very, it's not just fantasy and just midrash. It's also, those things exist. I mean, you see how the world is, right? You have men seducing women, women seducing men who are already married, all that, and for the wrong reasons. So those energies are very real. Okay, so what did that in that snake, Mr. Snake, what did he say to the woman? Okay, let's remember, snake is, he was not a snake with legs. It was a being that is called snake because of his approach. He was trying to, his behavior was the behavior of a snake. Which is the meaning of the word snake. Nechesh, nechesh means to not deceive, but to be a little sly, to try to convince you of certain things, and that's what he did. He said to the woman, and obviously he went straight to the woman. So we see that he's trying to take the female energy. Also, I must add that Rashi says somewhere, I forgot where he says, but it says when they were not ashamed, I think. Let me just double check. Okay, I don't see it right now, but I know it's there. Rashi says that it's a midrash also, that he saw Adam and Eve being intimate together openly, and that caused him to be attracted to the woman and want the woman also, which means that we have to respect and protect that male and female energy, and make sure that it's not something public, so to speak, because of those negative energy that's out there. The concept of Ain Hara, right? That if you have tremendous love for each other, it's beautiful, but don't display too much. By Hasidim, they don't display any affection in public. And I believe that one of the reasons is that, because it's something that has to be protected. The more something is protected, the less is prone to external forces. The more something is hidden, the more it is holy. What is the most hidden thing in the world? God. God is the holiest. And that's why intimacy has to be done in a hidden way. Obviously, the force of evil do the opposite. They take sexuality and make it public with the porn industry, all that. Exactly the opposite. So again, you see the balance is constant balance between those two energies. So what did the Nachash do? He said to the woman, did perhaps God say, you shall not eat of any tree of the garden? So he's having communication. And by the way, I want to add something else here also, because the Midrash, that's in the Midrash Rabbah, says, why was Chava alone? Why was Eve alone? She had just been created, right? They just created together. It doesn't say anything about men and women. It goes straight to the snake. So obviously there must have been something between Adam and Eve for them not to be together. I mean, you know, you bring me, it says that Eve was gorgeous, more gorgeous than Sarah, who was so gorgeous. So it says, I think the Midrash said that Sarah looked like an ape compared to a human being in relationship to Chava. So we're speaking about one of the most gorgeous beings in the world. And she's alone, you're not with her, you don't have an interest. And the Midrash says in this way, he said they had just had intimacy together. And you know what happened? Adam was sleeping, which is a message for men, don't fall asleep after intimacy. I didn't say anything. Because you know, she might think you are treating her like an object, perhaps. The woman wanted to communicate. She's a communicator. Women like to speak. The female energy needs communication. She wants to, that's how she becomes bonds. That's why women have the 9 power of speech out of the 10 power of speech. That's why men like to be silent more than the woman. Again, all those things designed. Again, here we're learning the DNA of what a man and a woman is, which is essential for marriage. Nobody should be allowed to get married until they learn the story of Gan Eden. Because do you know why you have to get married? Well, it's here in the story. Do you know why even you need to have a man or a woman opposite you? Well, the story, it all started here. So people get married, they don't even know the story of Gan Eden. The first story of creation is all there. You want to have a good marriage, learn the story of Gan Eden. You know what to do, what not to do. But I don't know, you know, how many people teach it that way, unfortunately. We usually skip the Gan Eden, like, you know, oh, there was a man, woman, they were naked, and there was a snake. Oh, and then he ate from the apple. Oh, I fell from Gan Eden. Oh, now it's like, hello. It's and as adults, we continue with that story in our mind. The snake, and he had legs, and then it's pathetic almost. It's sad. We should have in every synagogue, every Jewish home, the story of Gan Eden in a frame. It should be like the ketubah, right? The people technically we're not allowed to put a ketubah on the wall, because the ketubah is supposed to be hidden for the woman. It's a protection against the man. So, but the story of Gan Eden, that should be framed on the wall technically. Maybe I'm going to do that. Actually, I think it's you have to do what you preach, right? And so it's never too late. So let's try to finish because it's almost there. So Adam and Eve just had intimacy, and she was sleeping. What does that mean that he was sleeping and they were just created? First of all, what is sleeping in Gan Eden? Is there such a thing as sleeping in Gan Eden? In the spiritual world, do you sleep? I don't think so. So obviously, sleeping meant that he was not connected. He was out of it. He was disconnected. And Eve, who was just created, felt disconnected. She was looking for some attention, put some makeup. And she wanted love. She wanted male energy love. And perhaps, we could say that the intimacy that they had was not that great. And as we know, it's a big thing in every couple. Unfortunately, very few couples discuss it with a rabbi or with someone professional about how to have better intimacy, because intimacy is the rock of the foundation of true love in the marriage, the way husband and wife act during intimacy is an indication of the type of relationship they have and the type of male and female energy that they can balance. You learn to be a true giver, focusing on the other's feeling, the other's body, the other's, right? That's all part of learning to be one with one spouse. So obviously the way the intimacy that he had with Eve, there was a disconnect there. And therefore she felt alone. He was sleeping and she was looking for some other male energy. Oh, guess what? Nachash, male energy. You know, you imagine this, the Nachash as that big guy bodybuilding from Beverly Hills, like walking in the streets like that, yeah, with his super juice, you know, vitamins, steroids. So that's what the snake was. He went on steroids. I mean, I'll give you love, baby, right? That's what was the snake. I'll give you full male energy. I was like, oh, attention. And that's like all those guys who think or who try to show the woman that he's attracted to her, but really it's all about her body. It's all about sucking her energy and taking whatever spirituality she has by using her body, and at the end she feels she's deceived by those sneaky people. So I think we're going to stop here. We'll start next time with a question again. And well, we managed to do 3 verses. That's pretty good. You know, my rabbi usually is 2-3 words. So, you know, one day maybe I'll reach his madriga of just, you know, doing a whole shiur on just 1 word. But yeah, 3-4 verses, it's already something. So again, that was just a glimpse of what can be learned from those things. Maybe we'll come back to it again because it's infinite. And God willing, we'll continue next week. Any questions on what we said, or it was crystal clear? No? Okay. Baruch Hashem. I was clear enough even with my French accent. Baruch Hashem. Oui, oui. All right. To be continued.
Thank you, Rabbi.
My pleasure. You're very welcome. Have a great night.
Much.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye.
Good night.